there are teachers who go along with the program, but then there are teachers, you're kind of hamstrung. Wait,
the free thinkers.
Pause this again. It's not necessarily, it's free think. There are places they do appreciate free thinkers, but with the educational system, you're not a teacher who can teach anything that you want. There's a lesson plan. There's a lesson plan that has to be okayed by a principal, that has to be okayed by a superintendent. That is what you must be taught in this amount of time. If you must be taught about the Civil War from this week to this week, you must be taught about the Civil War. These pages must be read and the test must be taken. Now, for you to throw extra in there is cool, but you still have to reach this. Like you can't say, you can't go into, hey, the South also had black soldiers, or hey, that the South was actually winning, or you couldn't say that. You had to, okay, Battle of Bull Run, boom. Okay? Well, Atlanta and Sherman. You couldn't go into important things, the intricacies. Why did Sherman burn Atlanta down? The same reason why, America bombed Nagasaki, to make an example, to show the South, like, hey, look what we did to Atlanta. We're on our way to Jackson, Mississippi to do the same thing, What's amazing about the Civil War, though, not going off, the South's capital and the North's capital, they were kind of right near each other, weren't they? Was Vicksburg, Virginia? What was the capital of the Confederacy? What was it? What was the capital of the Confederacy?
Something I should know.
So they turn them against each other to fight.
Well, here's the thing. It's
how long did that take them?
How could the capitals be that close to each other?
Yeah.
Well, that's because if you look at it just like right now, everything was industrial. It was money. It was corporations fighting each other. The agricultural corporations versus the industrial. And Richmond. Okay, thank you very much. I said Vicksburg. We're going to take that out. We'll leave it in there. Richmond, Virginia, which is right down the road from Washington, D.C. They're basically, it's not San Diego, but it's actually a little closer than San Diego to L.A. But don't these things make you wonder, how could Richmond be very close to D.C.? But but we never went for Richmond.
But you said it, man, the agriculture, that whole stuff, man.
Yeah.
Remember I was telling you about the cities of Cain and the descendants of Cain?
Mm-hmm.
So Cain was the first person to build a city.
Okay.
And the cities, I think they're kind of like, if you go all the way back to America, all downtowns are built almost the same. They're a little different, some of them. But most of them, about 90% of them are the same. Same streets, same names. So with the whole agriculture stuff, the descendants of Cain, wherever they go, they destroy the land. And then the land stops producing for them. And so what they do after that, they move on. They go and crash one place, and they move on to a different place. That's why they needed Hispanics, black people, Native Americans to cultivate the land. Because the land's actually, it yields to them. It produces for them. So, how their whole, the South, how they win a war, and how all that led to where we're at now.
But the original people who worked the land in the South were the Irish. It was sharecroppers. The sharecropping system was around before the slavery system. It's what I believe happened. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, Christine, please, Chris Ride, please look it up. The sharecroppers wanted to unionize. And the plantation owners said, I don't think so. I don't think we're going to unionize. I think we get for a bang for a buck over here with these new kind of forced laborers that we've just purchased, So it's like, if you look what you're saying, the original people it was the Native Americans who taught the settlers how to cultivate the land.
They knew the herbs.
Yes.
What was good for what was good.
The soil. The Native Americans knew everything.
They knew it.
The water, the trees, everything. They were very, it goes back to the point you're saying, the Native Americans in this country were very in tune with the land. Even I think they had crop rotation. I think the crop rotation came.
You gotta let the land rest.
Yeah.
You gotta let the land rest, because if not, it's gonna just, and you gotta plant stuff like peanuts or stuff just to bring back the nutrients to the land.
Yeah. Settlers didn't care about that. They cared about, having enough to live on, then enough to store, then enough to sell, then enough to send back.
And then to move after that to the next one.
Remember, the settlers, they weren't here. They were still here under the crown. You know, it wasn't until the revolution that, you know, we had America or some sort of, remember, it used to be at the Spanish territory over here. There was a French territory over here.
Everybody was over here.
Yeah. So you were under the crown. You were not.
You have Russia and Sedona, California. They have them.
That's right.
They have them out there.
Mm-hmm.
A fort.
So you always had to send back a tribute to the king, or the money, or that's where the taxation representation came, and you always had to send something back. So when they made these crops, they were under pressure to, you know, show something for it.
Exactly.
So it goes from produce.
Produce something.
You had to produce something and show it. If you didn't, then you were a failure. But that's not the way that the Native Americans' mind worked. The land gives, you take from the land, you respect the land, and then you treat the land almost like a living entity. You know? See, I think that's a problem with the world today. We don't treat the land like it's living. We treat it like it's a thing. When I think the earth is the most live thing out there. I think the earth is more actually a living organic being than us. Because we need the earth. The earth doesn't need us. It can keep on going. It heals itself. It breathes. It has circulation. It also, you know what I'm saying, reacts with the sun. It's a system.
It's a system that has a natural system. Like, what does it do with tornadoes? What happens with that? It takes all the bad stuff, sends it somewhere else, but it destroys everything in its path.
Well, because the earth doesn't see buildings as necessary.
And that's the thing, man, that all these buildings are going to go down.
Mm-hmm.
We're cutting trees.
Yeah.
You know, to build buildings. You know.
And trees block the sun. Trees stop wind.
Oxygen.
Yeah, oxygen, the most important thing. Oxygen, we need to breathe. But we don't care. Not we as people, but we've been kind of lulled to sleep. And, you know, some of it comes from the educational system, you know, which is not the teacher's fault. Everybody wants to blame teachers. But it's not their fault. The teachers are just like, look, cops cannot just go save people. I cannot just put on a badge and a gun. I'm going to go look for some crime today. You know, wonder if I can find some crime. I'm going to go down to Compton and see if I can find some bad guys. Hey, you bad guy, what are you doing? Get over here. No, there's procedures. There's the route you have to get a call in. You have to paperwork. Paperwork is big with police officers. Matter of fact, a lot of times you get arrested and not arrested is all up to the paperwork. If that officer wants to do paperwork, you're getting arrested. If that officer does not want to do paperwork, then you're going to get away with a slap. It's paperwork. So if you give a police officer, listen to all you people out there, you rebel rousers. When you confront a police officer, you know, I don't know how we got to earth to police officers, but if you confront a police officer, what you're doing is you're saying to that police officer, am I worth doing the paperwork for? Because they're going to have to do paperwork. They just can't arrest you. There's paperwork. There's a lot of stuff that they got to write the reports, a police report. So a lot of police officers don't want to do the police report. They don't. So, but if they make that move and they decide they want to do it, well, they're going to do it. How people get arrested many times is all up to does that police officer feel like doing paperwork? That's it. We can look at it as far as racism, classism, everything like that. But if you boil it down to just people on a job, hey, once you've been a police officer for 5 years, I think the hero system kind of jumps out of you and you just want to get your paycheck and get your pension. So if you make a police officer and want to do the paperwork, they're going to do it.
But just look at the history of the police department, how it started, what it was for. Same thing. I think that's why there's a disconnect between the people where they're at. They don't know their history. Mm-hmm. You know, there's written history and then there's oral history. Like the Native Americans have that. They have one person in the village that knows their entire history. Mm-hmm. You know? And then now most people don't know their history, where they came from, what are they celebrating. They just follow what you would call, if somebody points out that's racist, then that's racist.
But they don't even know what racism is.
They don't know what racism is.
They don't even know the word.
Like there's a guy right now, there's a video that, you know how America wants to implement national socialism.
Yes.
They like it, right? Talk to somebody that's born in one of those nations, like Venezuela. Mm. They know you have no idea what you're talking about. You have no idea until we talk about it until you live it.
But what do Venezuelans know? They know the history of Venezuela. You know? For example, like most Americans, if you ask them, don't know about the whole Belize and Guatemala situation. But every Guatemalan knows. Every Guatemalan, I would think most of the Guatemalans I talk to know about the whole...
They stole the land. Yeah.
Exactly. But all Guatemalans know that. I'm pretty sure Belizeans know it too. But that history is passed on through generation to generation to generation. Most people in this country can't even tell you why the Revolutionary War started, why the Civil War started, why, people can't tell you different things because they don't study. They don't study the atrocities that happened in America. They don't, because it doesn't affect them. Because this country is which is good, it's a collection of different cultures, but there's something to be said about culture. Culture is developed. Culture is, well, just like the word culture.
It's what makes you different, like beautiful at the same time,
Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm confused sometimes what American culture is. I think it's prefabricated, it's basically new. What is American culture? Okay, Jay, name something that's culturally American.
Football. I was born into that, like football, sports.
Okay. Football.
Vaginal health and managing stress. That's why
What are you doing?
Sorry about that. An ad popped up.
Why would you be playing ads?
No. They pop up. Even though I have that thing enabled, they still pop up. You guys can help me get that.
No, what they want. I think they want you to actually pay for that, like commercial free stuff. Like in TV now, you could get a channel. Like I can't watch football anymore because of this commercial, man. Oh. They're getting so bad.
Because of corporate society, everything's money.
I looked at a commercial during the basketball game on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
I had to close my eyes, man.
Why?
I saw some dude, like he had an iPad or iPro, but what he was doing, he was putting on makeup and showing the world this is me. But during a basketball game,
yeah,
there's time and place for stuff,
Yeah, they're doing.
But I'm like, so now